Hey, Blair. some uses for Azure Spatial Anchors. There are multiple apps that you can create with Azure Spatial Anchors. A really good use case is anytime that you need to tie a specific information to a specific place. For example, if you're in a big building and if you want your users to find their way around, you can put breadcrumbs around and they can detect these spatial anchors and find their way. Another good use case is if you're in a big supermarket or a warehouse and it's really hard to know where things are, you can put specific product information to specific places. So when you're far away, you can see which way to go depending on your purpose. And these are all business use cases. For a more fun application, check out Minecraft Earth.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Ruthie.
Hey.
So we're so happy to be here at this global conference. It really was something we were looking forward to. Just to let you know, Ruthie and I also met in VR in the Metaverse, and we have not met in person, but we found out we have a lot in common. We decided to talk about what we think the future is in XR and also in business and networking, and especially for women.
Yes, I am so very excited about this. It's such a wide open space, and it feels like, for me, it feels very much like there are no bounds. Like maybe before we were like, just kind of looking at things in a very XY, X-axis, Y-axis type of way. And for me, virtual reality just takes all of the boundaries off of that. And I just feel like we're looking at a completely whole new world with a ton of possibilities for business. And I don't think we're the only ones, considering some of the big companies who are investing in virtual reality, in augmented reality.
Been doing marketing on the internet, I suppose, in one way or another for 20, 30 years already, 1990s. And one of the women I'm going to speak to today, I've known for that long because she was my mentor back then. And she's jumped with both feet right into Horizon. And she already is talking about the possibility for growing the worlds, growing the communities. Another woman as well, Paige Danziger, has already made a huge name for herself in Horizon, and she was highlighted at Facebook Connect, and she's been highlighted. She told me some of her background while I was talking to her, and it's really pretty interesting how she's come along with VR and XR, and has come along and brought her network of women with her, and really encourages and supports women. I have another person that we met through Supernatural, the fitness game that's taken off and is just gigantic. And I use it every day. And she's going to talk about what she started, which was a subgroup community, and that's grown because she found something that everybody liked to do together on Supernatural. So and she's also got a business that has come out of that we'll talk about. And I know you spoke to a bunch of people, so tell us about where you're going and who you're talking to.
The two that I'm talking to today are Laurel Van Fossen, who's one of the founders of Educators in VR, and they run so many events in alt space every week in a lot of different areas, looking at things like engineering, but of course, education and coaching and just so many different areas, and looking at the ways that VR intersects with these industries, but more importantly, how VR and XR, AR, all of it intersects with these industries. The second person I'll be talking to is Roberto de Acosta, who is the founder and owner over at Con in VR, CONINVR.com. And he runs a monthly trade show in alt space, as well as a weekly networking event. And I go to that event, and there are so many people who show up. I meet wonderful folks and we connect. And it's just been such a wonderful way to not just grow my VR network, but to grow my business network, because everybody who attends in some way or another is looking to make those types of business connections. And I just love that he's a pioneer in the space. So I absolutely had to include him. The biggest thing I love about VR XR is that it has so many applications, not just to bring people together for play, but also for work. And I've worked from home, like you, Allison. I've worked from home, even pre-pandemic. And I just really think that XR is a true game changer for the knowledge and service-based businesses that I work with, being a knowledge and service-based business myself, but most of my clients are as well. And I think even just showing people the possibilities, which is what we're hoping to do today, but even just showing people the possibilities and opening their minds up helps them see what could be possible for them and their businesses in the XR space.
There's so many people here this week talking about what they're bringing and what they're going to create, so much beyond what I can even imagine, that I'm also interested and excited to see what everybody's really, really doing and what the next 10 years is going to bring, because I think it does start here. We're just at the beginning, and we're just going to keep going.
Foundation
Pioneering.
level. Yeah, there's no time like the present in this industry, I think. I mean, that's true for pretty much any industry, but to watch it unfold now is just such an amazing thing. So what do you think? Are we ready?
Yeah, I think without any further ado, let's introduce some of the amazing, incredible people that we know to the conference audience. Hello, and welcome to my avatar in AltSpace. I'm here to interview Heather Pullman. Heather has created a growing community of the VR fitness app Supernatural, Stay Near, Go Far, in a subgroup called SMAC, Supernatural Metal Athletic Challenges. SMAC is a place where members challenge themselves and each other to convert their supernatural workouts in mileage, which is then used on another latest craze, virtual racing. The members of SMAC encourage each other, form teams, or do individual challenges, and there's a medal at the end of it and everything. Heather is also an inspiration to me, not only for the community she built and continues to motivate, but she's also creating a new business for herself through this endeavor. As a health and wellness coach, the world of XR has opened up a new world of virtual possibilities.
And yeah, so it's all about women. And, the more I watch you do what you're doing, and then I watched your live stream talk about now you're creating a business, and and you've now built a network of women specifically tailored for your clientele. And I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Totally accidentally. kind of how it first came across was my own need for tangible reinforcement to keep myself active and
Exactly.
exercising and doing fitness, especially during a pandemic where you can't get out and do it. You know, I used to
Exactly.
go to a gym. I used to swim. My first medal that I purchased was actually to swim the English Channel. And I had gotten about, I don't know, 7 or 8 miles of swimming done for it. And then my gym closed down.
Right.
So,
And I think that's a lot to do with this fitness craze that people didn't see coming in
yeah.
virtual reality.
I think the other part of that makes Supernatural and VR fitness as a whole so wonderful, especially for women, is Supernatural has such a wide variety of music, and I actually created a playlist, which when I do events in Altspace
Hmm.
for SMAC, I play the playlist, and because the music is part of what brings us all together. When I have very positive memories of what Supernatural has brought me personally in terms of um, not just weight loss, but how much my body's changed, how much more active I've been, my medals, things like that. Listening to the music helps bring me more of a positive emotion, especially when I'm doing something I don't like. And so then I find more motivation to get through the things I don't like faster. There's
Yeah.
work on slow twitch and fast twitch muscles.
Hmm.
There's cardio, there's high intensity interval training, and people don't see that because, first and foremost, they see it as a game. It's not until you get into how it's changing your body. When you look at VR, it's absolutely amazing. My business my practice is completely virtual. I never intended SMAC to be a platform for my own business. That was never an intention for me.
Hmm.
What I found though is there is a great number of women, especially, but we have men too, but a great number of women who are doing Supernatural because they're not comfortable in a gym. And I feel that there's a lot of women who it's interesting. It's a video game, and yet the majority of women who are doing this are over the age of 35.
I know.
And actually, the vast majority are 40 to 45 and up. So, my when I decided that's the person I really wanted to help, and I started really studying it and everything, I said, "Oh my God, there's a group of people here that I can help who are already dedicated to their health. They're already exercising, but they're struggling because no matter how hard they work, they're just not losing the weight." And so, my goal was never build a business around SMAC. But I am so honored that I can take my knowledge and my education and help these people further their journey because they're already doing so much work. To be able to further their journey and help them feel better and help them be able to be more successful in their day-to-day life.
And now I have with Roberto da Costa, who is the founder of Conan VR, and he runs a monthly trade show and a weekly VR networking event, which, at least based on what I've seen, is the first of its kind. So, Roberto, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
How you started, right? Like you have a monthly trade show, you've got a weekly networking event, and people really show up and show out for this. It's a very like serious network of people who show up and they mingle, and you can tell that they're dedicated, and that's what you're building here. And I think that's amazing, and it should be something that other businesses, if not looking to be a part of, maybe look at, duplicating to a certain extent, right? Because that's what happens when you're first.
I got lucky by being in this position first and by showing up and having the idea. That's just, luck. that I didn't do anything special. And honestly, the only reason why I started this is another, lucky position that I was sitting in, was I needed to make the headset a business expense. So the need to take that as a tax deductible expense made me think about ways that I could actually find a tool in virtual reality. Like what can virtual reality do? The applications weren't really working for me. They're all, still beta. It's very basic at this moment, but I jumped into social VR and I saw that people were doing things like this, hanging out and really mingling. And so the idea came to mind, there must be a networking group here. And after a day of asking, where are the networking groups and checking the schedule and seeing nothing there, I saw it and that opening was there for me. So I had to fill it, by just needing to make this headset an expense. I started this entire business, and I would say this could be a new market. I don't know if it's part of the old market, but honestly, who knows? It's a new market to me. I started to see the potential for what networking in VR was, and then after running a couple of events, I thought about all the other potentials, like running a trade show, running a conference, bringing speakers on, and that quickly evolved into how do we get business owners to do better at business in real life? So these three components, it's money, education, and connections. That's what will make you better at business. Because I can't give you money, I've created this platform, which is networking in VR, which means you can truly connect with somebody, really connect.
Since I am a brand person, but I look at brand and business almost at like a spiritual level personally. Um, you are correct in that someone would have done it, but I would say, from my perspective at least, that there wouldn't have been someone who had done it quite the way that you did. And now
Thanks, Ruthie.
you have set the standard for what's expected. Anybody who's attended your event is going to expect something at least as wonderful as you have put together to consider it a professional event. So an
Wow.
idea coming to the minds of many people absolutely does not take away from the special spark that you yourself brought to it. For the business owner who is stepping into networking, what would you say to them as as a business owner, not knowing quite what to expect, maybe not even having any serious expectations, but wanting to make something out of VR and networking? What would you say to them?
To a network in VR is much like going to one in real life. Nothing like a Zoom network.
Yes.
Forget about it. If you were to come into a VR networking event, having what you do in your back pocket, a 30-second pitch is key, and knowing who your market is, so that way you can communicate that early.
So, Roberto, I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for joining me and sharing, your start here in alt space and in virtual reality means a lot to me as somebody who's a new friend that, of yours that I've met here, but I know it's going to mean quite a bit to the people who have an opportunity to watch this. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Next up in our line of inspirational bridge builders and networkers is Eliza Sherman. I first met Eliza in 1994 at a cyber conference in New York City. She had become a national sensation as Cybergirl, along with her network for women in tech, WebGirls. Since then, Eliza has worked in every tech space, building, creating, and networking with contributors from around the world. She has written several books for women in tech, some of which I had the honor of co-editing, and has now found a place in Horizon Worlds to create her next communities. Here is Eliza Sherman.
So the vision for Web Girls, it was a little accidental. I started an internet company. I was the only woman I knew with an internet company at the time. And I wanted to meet other women who were online. And I would look at websites and try to identify whether the website creator was male or female. And then I began emailing women I was finding who had websites and invited them to meet up. And we did. It was kind of funny because I wasn't sure who would show up. I wasn't sure they'd all be female. And we met at a cyber cafe in New York City. I met up with them. I wrote about it on my website, which was at the time called The World According to Cybergirl. The next thing I knew, I started getting emails from women saying, can I start one too? Because I had called myself Cybergirl, and I called women who had websites web girls, kind of the double R, like you said, RR, sort of a nod to Riot Girls, because I came from the music business. I mean, somewhere in between web girls starting and my consulting on digital marketing, I got involved first in Second Life. So the idea of building your own life, your own world, your own island, that was a big deal for me. It was a fantasy / reality. I had jobs in Second Life. I had my own island. I built a gallery of women's art. I had performers, particularly female performers, give concerts. I had my own t-shirt design company. I mean, it was incredible. So with my wellness company, Elementa, that I founded to educate women about cannabis and CBD and other alternative forms of wellness, plant medicine, I ended up reaching out to and meeting Linnea Reeves, who founded Trip. She's the creator of Trip, TRIPP, which is an Oculus experience. I wouldn't call it a game. It's meditation and mindfulness, and it's gorgeous and amazing and so cool. Yeah, so that was really my first introduction to VR. Now I built, or I'm starting to build, or I'm working on building a world in Horizon, because it appeals to all the things that I love. I mean, it's the virtual world, the ability to build. Really, the sky's the limit to create something out of nothing. So my first thought was, knowing that I had limited shapes, what shape could I use to make something familiar to me, to create an atmosphere that's recognizable, but maybe a little bit fantastical. So I spent a couple of years living in Yuma, Arizona, and we had this beautiful dry wash in the backyard, and it was just desert. It was just so gorgeous, and just the idea of desert is so different from the city, for example. And I had been living in, and I live now in Alaska, so super different from that. So my very first thing that I made was one of these cacti. I was trying to make detail, and I didn't put any handles on anything yet, but I have a fridge, I have an extra freezer, I have a microwave and an oven, and then I have a little trash compactor and my stove and a sink. I'm especially proud of my sink. It looks totally like a sink to me. I'm psyched. I think that when you look at a virtual world, at a platform that allows you to build in a virtual world, there's a great deal of play. It's fun, and yet it can be turned into an incredibly valuable tool, either to create and build a space that you can then share with others and that you can invite people in and literally commune with one another, or you could turn this into a new skill that you add to your resume and increase your earning capacity. You can also use this space for work, meaning bring in colleagues, meet with people. Like when I had a virtual team, when I was doing one of my consulting businesses that I started an agency, we would meet in Second Life. It was just, we were all far flung. So when you have virtual teams, how do you create a sense of place and a sense of community and a sense of connection. Well, virtual worlds can do it.
I am super excited to have Laurel Van Fossen, the co-founder and director of Educators in VR. Very gracious after a very long day already in alt space devoted to the projects that Educators in VR is working on all of the time. So Laurel, thank you so much for to be here.
Oh, thank you. And I just realized that I'm dressed up at Educators in VR and was brought in to help support the VR awards at last minute. I usually don't dress like this, but I don't care. It's fine. It's part of the.
You look fabulous. You look
Thank you.
fabulous.
Thank you.
Well, okay, so I would love it then if you could just tell us real quick how, Educators in VR, got started and the operation that you're running here in alt space.
I'd met many teachers and things early on. This is 2017-ish, early 2018. And I knew I wanted to teach in VR. So I had been studying and researching how to teach classes and workshops in here. And Daniel and I very clear in the first few months of what we wanted this to be. We wanted to have regular meetups that were general for all of our members, all of everybody. And then we wanted special interest groups that really dove down deep into specialized area. And we now have over 20 and that are exploring everything from aviation and flight simulation training, pilot training, and aerospace inclusion of XR technology, to medical and healthcare, VR coaching, language learning. We have 2 new groups that are coming up. One is in theater. Also working with instructional designers to create a group to really explore the potential, which I've been dreaming of. I started that group at the very beginning, but now we have people want to come in and actually develop it to really explore how do we teach this? How do we deal with curriculum? How do we design curriculum to make it support the diverse audiences that are here? What's the main layer is to have these special interest groups and these teams, and then to have the Educators in VR Institute, where we provide training courses and programs, and we walk the walk. We teach people in VR. And then we also have the production arm, which handles the commercial production work, which is where the VR awards came in.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you. No, that was wonderful. And so because you just talked about the VR awards and you run events in alt space multiple times a week across many different teams and lots of different people, for business that is looking to step into the VR event space.
People hate cold call and they hate pitches. They do. Okay. So that's a natural instinct. And in VR, in social VR, you need to meet people where they are. You need to tap into the human, not into the advertising, not into the marketing. Understand that it's about the connections we make, and it's about evangelizing and community building rather than sales pitch. It's really important because VR is a very intimate experience. You feel like you were here. Yes. You feel like I am here. In alt space and engaged in others, we are our avatars. And when you're talking to someone in that respect, you want to make that connection.
Thank you so much for being here with me and sharing this with the Global X Conference audience. I am very much looking forward to being a part of the future that you've painted. And it's just been such an honor to speak with you.
Oh, I am so thrilled. This is an industry that is evolving and changing. And I fear that it may change for the worse. But with people like you and this organization, I think that it's going to change for the better. Because you gotta have heart, miles and miles and miles of heart. That's part of VR.
It is.
Paige Danziger is a true pioneer in the world of VR, XR, world creation, community building, and online networking. Her work is focused on women in VR, and she has been featured in many articles about her endeavors to create artistic and safe spaces for all, the future of XR, and the possibility it holds to bring builders and users together to create a better world. Most recently, Paige was a featured panelist during Facebook Connect 2021. She's here to tell us where she started and where she's going.
2016, I got my first Oculus Rift, and right away I drew some flowers and I posted them using social media, including several women's groups. I really believed that through drawing together, people would draw together for a better world. So I was invited to this wonderful event hosted by Facebook Spaces, and Lisa Kotecki and I became connected through that program, and it led the way for further relationship making until OC6 when Horizon was announced. I was invited to be part of the first group of people who are community creators. So in truth, I've been here from the very beginning. Horizon and I together, we hosted a women in VR meetup at Horizon Art Museum. Right after that event, I immediately created a Women in Horizon Facebook group and I co-admin partner at that time, Nava Berg, started creating a world in Horizon, and that was perfect because as she was creating the world, I was lining up community members to speak at the new space, and it all really happened, kind of snowballed within like a week. From there, it just continued each month. Now our newest endeavor is our women world building workshops, and our first one was about amplifying voices. We taught a beginning script. Actually, it was a script that Nava taught me first way long ago, and then I turned that script into our plus creator plus community voices program at Horizon Art Museum. So, you know, our community has been building our community. So our last creator spotlight was on the world builder Verka Martin, who goes by Berserka as their username. Berserka creates worlds that are like museum period rooms, but interactive. All of the experiences highlight the hardships. So in normal games, one wins something. Here, one might just win a scrap of bread. Waffle Clock was made by Up Too Late and their partner Mark Julian, and in this game you work at a waffle shop and you have to make perfect waffles. Creature Mixology is a brilliant game created by Ashes to Ashes Ashley Briley, as well as Matt Torres. An exquisite corpse drawing experience where you mix the head, the torso, and the feet, and you have to remember what order these cute animals come out in. So Ice Cream Frenzy is really fun. You just catch the ice cream balls and you try to get the best ice cream cone possible. And then Horizon Future Farms, I had the pleasure of having John Burns, Burn Buns, be my partner. You grow vegetables and you compete to toss more veggies into the community basket to win. Ideas like this make it easier to take care of your community around you outside of Horizon.
There was once a place to have a women world building workshop where we learned how to amplify our voices. And as I began to work more with my co-partner, Echo Flower, it turned from what was once a workshop session to this whole idea we had about making an educative platform about LGBTQ+. And so me and Echo Flower did the research, we did the text inputs, and I did a little bit of the basic coding. And this was the outcome. And so it was actually very interesting about the motives behind why we worked on this. Not because of, to fit in part with the Amplify Our Voices lesson. This was also because we come from two different sides of the community, where one is an ally and supports the LGBTQ community 100% all the way through, and there's me, which I have been gender questioning since June, and I wanted to make a world saying that it's okay to be where you're at, and that you are loved by many and you are supported by the LGBTQ community.
I want to welcome you to join us at our Women in Horizon events. We have a whole world dedicated to women-built worlds, as well as we want to share your work, learn your story, and create space here together with you.
Wow, Allison, that was amazing. How do you feel after all of that?
I feel great. I think we spoke to a lot of very interesting people between the two of us who are going to do big things in XR. So I just can't wait for the next steps. And I was glad that we could introduce them to to the audience. Paige Danziger, as a matter of fact, is giving 2 other talks during the XR Global. So we will see more of her.
So
How do you
exciting.
feel?
I feel even like more inspired for the future. I've talked to you about some of the things that I want to do in the XR space, and now I just feel even more excited to do those things. The community right now is just so very tight knit, but also so very, very, very supportive. So it thrills me absolutely. And I mean, we didn't have enough time to talk about everything and everyone and every app that we wanted to. So for everybody who's here with us, we've got just, some of the apps that we really, really like. Some of the ones you didn't see. I am a huge fan of Immersed. I work in there almost every day, and I do a lot of brainstorming and mind mapping in Noda.
Great, of course,
And you did-
Supernatural's there.
Yes, Supernatural's there because we talked about Supernatural, had to put it up there. And then, we were both in alt space, right? We were
Yes.
both interviewing in
Correct.
alt space.
So there's just so much, and every day there's more. But I'm very happy we got to do this together. It's a good first steps for our future collaboration. Just the fact that you're 1,000 miles from me at any given time, all the time, and we can still do this. And the fact that we've met in virtual space and are able to collaborate so easily is just encouraging. Thank you for doing this with me, and thank you to Global XR, and we will see you out there.
Hi again, Ruthie.
Hi.
Can you hear me? Everybody?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi,
hear me
Blair.
okay?
How are you?
I'm good. You know what? I apologize. I wouldn't normally be moderating a session from my phone, but I have 3 laptops and no internet. So, always have a contingency plan. And so just so everyone knows, my name is Blair Russell. My pronouns are he, him. I'm calling from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I'm really excited to be here. That was a really great. I just want to say that was really cool to see all of that and see all the people you were able to talk with and discuss. We have folks who are watching. If you have any questions, feel free to put those in the comments, and we'll make sure that our speakers have a chance to answer those. While we wait, is there anything you want to add to your what you shared with us?
I wanted to tell you I'm in Atlantic Beach in Florida. So I'm directly north of, I always tell people just get into the ocean and go straight north, and eventually you get to my house. If you're in Fort Lauderdale.
I would like to add that that shot where we were at the end in spatial, that definitely included as communities that we're involved with. Like I'm in the immersed Discord. I'm in the Noda Discord. I'm in these places and I'm talking to people. And it's something that comes up nearly every day. So I feel like Allison and I probably could have done a much longer series of interviews because the community itself is just so warm right now. It's just so welcoming and everybody is just very community focused. And I think I could have rang up any of those people and been like, hey, I'd love to talk to one of your people for this. And they would have said yes. So
yeah, we're hoping to do more. We kept talking about it. There's so many more people. And we have so much more footage too, because we talked to everybody for a very long time because it was so interesting.
Yeah.
And
both of mine were 30 minutes and I had to cut that down to what you were able to see.
Wow.
But the thing is that there's business here, and it's always been, especially like back with the internet, you just can't even see everything you can do to now bring everybody online and get them all working, and kind of converge it. There's no reason not to do it. And I'm glad that conferences like this help us take the first steps in showing everybody just all over the world. When I said I was going to do this, a friend of mine said, "Oh, are you flying?" And I said, "I'm not flying anywhere. This I'm doing because I could do." I probably wouldn't do it if I had to fly somewhere. And
so while we wait for any other questions to come in, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah. So we're all talking about the M word, which is metaverse, and a lot of different people have different definitions of what that means and what it is and whether it matters. But my question is around the idea of these VR business owners. How do you respond to that? Is it, I saw, I'm a big fan of Altspace, and I've done social VR and VR chat and Horizons. And does one make a choice? Does one find a niche? Do you continue down the path that you are? I mean, it must be so challenging to, see these things come up. So what kind of advice do you share, or what did you learn from the folks you talked to?
So for me, I think the big thing, and this is something I've been talking to people on like Clubhouse and, Facebook groups or whatever, but it may not be that you become a VR business. It may be that much like wherever my cell phone is, here it is, much like the cell phone, nobody's a cell phone business, but we optimize our websites for mobile, right? So I don't think that it's necessarily the route is going to be that everyone becomes a VR business, but I do think that virtual reality, augmented reality, any other realities that we come up with that fit under the XR umbrella, I do think that those are going to become tools that at first it becomes nice to use, right? Very much like how things for phones, apps for phones were nice, but now they're necessary. Like, how do you even live if your website's not optimized for mobile? I think that that's what we're going to see with the extended reality, is that it's going to become a tool that you have to use in business. What do you think, Allison?
No, I was going to agree with you. My first thought was that what I've learned from my experience is you don't necessarily find your niche; it finds you. All three of us have been moderators at this conference, and I've seen a lot today. And everybody seems to be saying, "Well, this is what we do," but it turns out this is what was needed.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you go with this. And as it all comes together, you kind of figure out, look at Heather with the metal challenges, and she's figured out she has a client base for her medical practice, and I know Aliza is transferring her offline. She's always done social. She had a huge thing in Second Life, which is why I told her about this. I said, I found your next Second Life, and it just kind of finds you, and you figure out what you can see to do with it. But Ruthie's also right, where this is going to be the next. You have to have a way of doing business and communicating with people. I think I saw the other day some fashion house bought a $3 million piece of land in one of the programs because they envision their future runways are going to be there, and they're buying it now without even thinking they're going to use it probably for years.
Yeah.
And it's going to find you.
Yeah. So that was crazy. I saw that one. It was in Decentraland, I believe, and it was part of what drove up Decentraland's crypto.
Yeah, I saw that. That's what I was looking at. What do you think, Blair? I mean, do you agree or?
Yeah, I work with a company called Crux, and our mission is really about advancing the Black storytellers within this space and allowing them to find community, allowing them to create wealth, allowing them to own what they create. And so whenever I'm looking at these announcements or these choices, I'm just thinking, right, remember when we used to use social media to share and promote and all of that, and then every single aspect of that became paid. I'm looking at it in the same way here, where it's like, yeah, it's not it. Right now, you can build the community. Right now, you can make the connections and network, and then know that it will not always be that way. One day, every time they'll be able to know when you are creating a transaction on the platform, and that will become something that becomes paid. So the important thing is to really find that community and build it now, and not be pushed around by the waves and the announcements and the changes. And everyone's going to be searching, and everyone's going to be building. So it's kind of like, make it a part of your business and try to be as many places as you can be.
Right. When someone comes along and says, try this, you don't say no. It's not
right. Right.
You say yes. And that's the other thing that we're finding just in the people we spoke to for this that was so easy. I have found one of the reasons that I'm drawn to all of this in such a big way is I have found that my community online, my social community, has completely turned from where it was in a very negative place for a while to a very, very positive space. No matter where I go, people are extremely supportive in this space. And that's one of my favorite things that when I talk to other people and I say, just come in, everybody's really nice. I don't, come on in. And that's one of my favorite things. And I think that everybody's sharing their ideas just like this. We all came on here for a week and telling everybody what we're doing. And I got 12,000 ideas today, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, so. I got super excited about construction and augmented reality based on one of the talks that I moderated yesterday. I told him, I said, Adrian, I knew this was going to be interesting. I was prepared for it to be interesting. I was not prepared for you to finish and me be like, who do I know in construction? Who do I?
It's amazing. There's something about the speed at which we can interact and the ways that we can discuss. I mean, really the worlds. I mean, that's what you can try. The worlds that I've discovered through social experiences and connecting with people who I know IRL and not, and just them taking me somewhere and being like, suddenly all I care about is the mechanics of pinball because I went to a world that made me feel like I was in a pinball machine. And, that happens almost on a daily basis when you're interacting. And that kind of leads to my second question, which was, and Allison, you mentioned it, like, how do you get started? Is it what you were saying? Just get in there, dive in, meet people, find out what interests you?
There's actually a piece that we didn't have time for that I wanted to hit on. So I'm glad in this last few minutes. And I talked to Ruthie about it, is the networking possibility about this. There's all these groups where people just share their apps, but then they go in together and I said it's the new golf course, right? Especially as women, we're always looking for that sort of networking buddy thing for years. And I said, this is it. Walkabout mini golf is it, because 10, 20 women go into different rooms and I can't believe what I talk about and what I learn. And you don't even realize that it might not be business right now. It's very social. It's going to be talking about business and clients and networks and exchanging of information just as easily as it is now. I can't believe I missed that putt, and what do you read on the weekends? That's where we are now. And we've seen that before, with Web Girls when it started, and then it became, how can I help you with this new idea or contract that you have? And you go in and you play a couple rounds of mini golf or forever bowling, or you go into Altspace, or you go into super, there's
I
just
use
so
Elven
much.
Assassin, a business friend and I use Elven
Population
Assassin
one.
to shoot orcs and talk about, today's what we need to hit today.
I like the sound of that. I have Elven Assassin. I really like the sound of that.
Well, it's something that you can do. It doesn't take too much energy and focus until like one of those big orcs gets in your face, and you can have your conversation, hit a couple orcs and go back. So
exactly. And I think that we're not seeing that yet because everybody's just so excited about it. And then they're going to realize, well, I don't want to go online and look at you through my computer. Put the headset on and I'll meet you in here and we'll play ping pong, right?
Yeah.
It's because we can now be together in the space. If you're 1,000 miles away, it's the big deal. And that's the piece is that you're 1,000 miles away, go in here and let's talk about it. And then I think even going into immerse like Ruthie does every single day and going into spatial. And there was a woman, I went to her art gallery she's over in the Netherlands, and I talked to her about taking her art and what she should digitize it. And then we started talking about NFTs and gallery, and she's doing it now. I mean, it's just, that's where this goes, it finds her. I don't think she thought I was going to come in and start getting her down the track of NFTs, but I think I have. And that put me on the same track because I said, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know this is this is very interesting for your art, and that's what I mean. It's going to find us because we're in here now.
So I just I know we have to wrap up, but I wanted to close real quick for anybody who's watching. The point here, right? I'm sure more than just us have said it. This is new. We don't know what this is going to turn into. We don't know how it's going to evolve. And that's part of the beauty, but that is also part of the danger. So I work a lot in the coaching and consulting space, and I see a lot of scams. I see a lot of unethical marketing, a lot of unethical sales. Please be confident in your curiosity and be willing to get messy and just explore it and just jump in and do it. You do not have to wait for anybody's permission. You do not need to pay somebody $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 to learn how to at least get started in VR. Just jump in and do it because nobody's an expert right now. There are expert developers, expert builders and stuff. But in terms of actually building a business in virtual reality, from the ground up into, consistent profitability and whatnot, nobody's the expert because every day we wake up and something's new. So just embrace your curiosity and be very wary of anybody who's positioning themselves as an expert in the VR space trying to get your balance.
Thank you so much for that advice. And thank you both for sharing with us and going in. It was so fun to see the interviews in VR chat. I'm like, this is why don't more people do this, right? It's just so fun. It just is such a great way to do it. So I appreciate being able to just be a small
I got the idea from something I watched on Facebook Connect with Paige, actually. I always like to give credit where credit's due. I got it from watching another one, and I said, that's brilliant.
So I hope you both have a wonderful rest of your day. And everyone, thank you for joining us. And come back for more of the Global XR Conference. I'll be talking tomorrow about live performance in virtual reality. So it'll be great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Blair.
Have a great day.
Thank
now I'm going to really smoothly transition on my phone. If I had one of my 3 laptops, this would be so easy, but I don't. So, okay. Outro video. Thank you all. Bye.
Okay.
Did I do it? Nope. Yes.